Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and today we'll be foraging around Petronas towers, the tallest twin towers in the world. There was a time when they were the tallest buildings in the world. Now there are two taller ones, and one is coincidentally in the same city in Kuala Lumpur. So a very iconic location. However, it's also full of security, and I've seen the security chew on people for the slightest misconduct. What will they do to a fruit hunter gobbling up their parks? Well, what can we gobble up? The also very iconic 5 o'clock trees. They fold their leaves at 5 o'clock, but I'm more after their fruits, the so-called monkey pods. They taste a bit like carob or cassia, to which they are related, but of lower quality. That's why they are called monkey pods. They are growing over there. Well, let's check them out. I can see a couple flowers there. Let's see, maybe we are lucky and there are also a couple fruits, a couple pods lying down here in those green spaces. Actually, no, I cannot see a single fruit. And all the time the whistles of the securities around me, but they are not whistling to me. Still, let's go around the corner before we start foraging in earnest. As you can see, they are putting a lot of effort into those parks. They even have skyscrapers with green facades, and even Petronas towers. They are this style of building is called something like Islam style. They are supposed to be similar to bundles of bamboo or reeds, where the single stems give strength to one another. So even the Petronas towers are styled after plants. But here we have some real plants. Costus is quite a popular ornamental, but apart from that, it's edible. And you don't really need to harm the plant. You just take a couple of the flowers. Delicious. Wonderful, refreshing, sorrel-like sourness. With a hint of sweetness. Various palms growing here. Palms are very good survival foods. In the jungle, sometimes we chop down a palm and eat it. You can eat the upper part, which is kind of soft and tasty. You can eat it raw or cooked. And from the stem of many palms, you can make sago. You can also eat many palm fruits. You can also tap palms up. You can eat palm flowers and so on. Just know what's a palm and what's not a palm. Those are palms. Maybe Roystonia regia. Well, those here are cycads, closer related to conifers than to other palms, than to real palms. And cycads, well, some of them are edible, are considered kind of edible if you know what to do to them. They're actually also highly toxic. That doesn't mean that some of the palms will not hurt you with oxalate or other toxins. So be very careful when foraging palms. See those trees with the beautiful green foliage? That's actually a close relative of the mangosteen, one of the most popular fruits here in Southeast Asia. It has yellow fruits, and they are called the garlic fruit. And unfortunately, well, that name already suggests that they are not the tastiest mangosteen. Well, I don't like most yellow Garcinia species anyways. There are some people that like those ornamental garlic fruits. I don't find them very nice, and there are people who find them totally repulsive. But there are no fruits on those, so we will not be able to try them for now. This stuff is sometimes being found on local markets. I forgot if it's a type of saururus or something else, but it's a vegetable which is sometimes used around here. But I don't have so much, experience with it, but I hope one leaf is not gonna kill me. Yeah, nice and soft and spicy. Like some spicier spinach. Not bad, but I will not eat more. because I have no idea about this thing. Here is some grass. Well, humans, unlike cows or even close relatives of us like gorillas, we cannot digest grass. We can eat some parts like bamboo sprouts and so, but basically we cannot eat grass. However, it can be different for some of the weeds among the grass. However, right now I don't see anything that looks tasty enough for me. Well, foraging among the skyscrapers might be rewarding sometimes. It's usually better to look for bigger open green spaces because, well, we have more greenery to forage there. KLCC Park also is probably the most beautiful place around here, not only because it's one of the most well-maintained parks I know, but also because the skyscrapers are arranged in a way. Oops, that's a big one. As to be watched mostly from the park. Hibiscus has nice edible flowers, but I usually avoid eating them in public parks because, yeah, I will enjoy it for a couple seconds, but if I leave it, hundreds of people will enjoy this little sprinkle of red in the greenery. However, if you think the security in the park is laxer, think again. The security in the park is infamous. They are vicious. They are hunting for everybody. You don't even need to commit anything illegal. Just heading in a direction they hear the whistles. Just heading in a direction where you might think about committing something is already crime enough. They have their own police station in the park, and almost all of the police people are women. Really vicious aunties. The crazy thing is some of them are also really cute. You see me munch of random stuff all the time, but usually I know what I'm doing. I'm a botanist and I've been a forager for decades. If you think, for example, oh well, those nice, beautiful, tender plumeria flowers could be something good for foraging. I mean, look at those crows, even there seem to be foraging. Plumerias in the Apocynaceae, see those? Slightly screw spiral-like flowers, stay away from them. Pretty much all of them are incredibly toxic. Every part of this plant can harm you badly. Yeah, the views are amazing. If there is not enough to eat, at least your eyes can feast. Cassia, the golden shower tree. I know what you're thinking now. Better stop thinking completely. Not everybody has a dirty mind like you. A lot of people have a dirty enough mind to walk on the lawn, and so they have fenced off everything. Also pigeons, the flying rats which spread together with humans. However, pigeons, they pack a nice ounce of meat, so in desperate situations, if you're not a vegetarian like me, remember the feral pigeons. Well, first remember the golden shower tree. Firstly, it's fenced off. Secondly, it's a very popular ornamental because of the flowers which cascade down like a golden shower. Stop sniggering. However, what I'm after are the fruits. See those long pods up there? They are not ripe. We need the ripe fruits. They are very popular, mostly in Islamic countries, like in drier subtropical places. They are being sold on a large scale. Oh, here by the way, an ilang tree, popular cosmetic and perfume. I hope you can see the flowers. I'm not even sure if it's the normal ilang tree. This looks like a relative. So tell me, I know that against the sky it's not so easy to ID it, but tell me what it could be. Oh, look at those cute little doves, relatives of the feral pigeons. What are those doves doing? They are foraging. They are foraging in this fig tree here. See, a fig tree with very small leaves, a strangler fig. Since it has nothing else around here to strangle, it strangles itself. Let's see what the doves have dropped for us. Small red fruits. This looks not completely ripe, but here you can see the fruit together with the leaves. This looks more ripe. It's boring, but not disgusting. Oh, let's find a more dried up one. Yeah, totally edible. It's not gonna win a prize for taste, but in the survival situation, a lot of boring figs are better than no boring figs. There is always at least one policewoman whistling around here. Ah, here she is. Be careful, folks. Children are allowed to bathe in this pool, but I don't exactly know how the rules are for adults, and I don't want to attract the attention of those fearsome ladies. Tourists might not be familiar with them, but among the local residents, they've got a reputation. There are a couple quite big labels, also a couple quite small labels, but by far not every tree is labeled. Also, at some point this place was designed as a fruit orchard, at least parts of it. So you can find a lot of real fruit trees here. See this grove of those trees? Well, here is a fruit. Fruit the size of a walnut, but once it matures, it will be the size of an apple, covered with velvet hairs, and that's also where its name comes from. It's the velvet apple. It's not closely related to the apple. It's not in the Rosaceae. It's in the Eboniaceae. So the wood, the inner part, the center of the wood is black and very valuable. It's an ebony tree and a close relative of kakis and also of chocolate pudding fruit. There are a couple bigger fruits over there. Come on, man, I know that the people trampled the grass so that the ground started showing, but still, it's not nice being in a park when you cannot walk on the grass. Yeah, the local soil is, there is a lot of sandy, also a lot of clay stuff. Also a lot of really firm clay stuff, but still, so many people walking around on the grass can be a little bit much. So they fenced off the grass. Also, I cannot see any velvet apples that seem to be in season. So let's move on. Well, we had an ebony and now we have a mahogany or sky fruit, Swietenia. I'm not sure which species it is exactly. Just like the ebony, the mahogany also has edible relatives, namely the santal, which I ate yesterday. But the mahogany or sky fruit, nice name, but the fruits are a medicine, not a food. We mentioned that the garlic fruit is a close relative of the mangosteen, and here is the real deal, the real mangosteen. However, those mangosteen trees, they don't seem to be in season either. Also, what are those green things underneath them? Those are definitely not mangosteen fruits. Where do they come from? Definitely not from this tree. They must be coming from one of the neighboring trees, but not from one of those. Those are Fabaceae. Also not from the mahogany over there. Also not from the ilang ilang. Where do they come from? Oh, the grass is always greener on the other side. And if it's walkable too, oh yeah. All the workers using this thing, using this area for the rest. The problem is, if you fence off 90% of the lawns, the remaining 10% will get so much traffic that they'll get destroyed too. Also very confusing, a lot of those fruits under the mangosteen trees. I'm sure those are mangosteen trees, but look, the ground under the tree is covered with those fruit. See this mangosteen tree? The ground under the tree is covered with those. But between the two mangosteen trees, there are no, see? Fruits under the mangosteen tree, no fruits here. Fruits under the next mangosteen tree. And see those mangosteen trees where those people are sitting, there are also those little green fruits with the big white seeds. And in a lot of them, the flesh has been chewed off the fruits. And those are definitely mangosteen trees. Look at the leaves, mangosteen leaves. And although I don't see the iconic fruits, I should at least be able to find a flower or two. Up here, a very distinctive mangosteen flower. So we have confirmed beyond any doubt that those are mangosteen trees, and that those fruits are not from those trees, despite the fact that they are concentrated under the mangosteen trees. This here might even be the remnant of an unripe mangosteen, but I'm not sure. Aha, fruits are coming from this tree. It's quite a common ornamental and street tree, but I'm not sure what it is. Here is a better preserved fruit, but some animal has been at it too. Probably not a squirrel, maybe rather a bird if it's eating more the fruit and not the seed. Also in this park I've seen munsangs or civets, the plant after which durian and musang king are named. But I don't know if a munsang would... Yeah, munsang could do this, but why would the munsang collect the fruits from there and eat them under those trees? It's more probable that birds collect them here, and in order to not fight, they go and eat them on those trees. Sugar palm. Very important, maybe the most important survival plant in Southeast Asia. This grows in jungles where the original jungle, where a tree has fallen down or a landslide has occurred or somebody has cut down a couple 100,000 square miles of jungle, those things pop up. I'm not even sure this is the same species of sugar palm I'm familiar with from Borneo. The infrutescences look a little bit on the short side, but no, the fruits actually look right. You can actually eat the seed, but inside the fruit are so many itchy oxalate hairs that you better find somebody to process this thing for you. You can eat the final result, but you shouldn't do the work. Here are a couple ripe seeds, not edible anymore. Yeah, maybe not really the species I'm familiar with from Borneo. Also the leaves look a little bit different, but definitely Arenga pinnata, yeah. Pokok aren, the sugar palm. A lot of the Latin names of local plants are modeled after the local names. So aren, pohon means a common name, kabung disinia, but in Borneo they call it pokok aren or pohon aren in the Indonesian part. And here it is in the Latin name, so it is a sugar palm. Also the fruits of this sugar palm have been massively chewed up. Something is foraging here. And here I see more traces. A pile of poo with a lot of plastic in it. Meaning this is not a pampered house dog or house cat. This is also not a squirrel. This is something bigger. Since I don't think they have feral dogs running around in the most prestigious part of the capital of a Muslim country, also under full camera surveillance, I totally exclude the possibility that there are feral dogs here, but I've seen wild munsangs here. So I guess that this poop and also the eaten up fruits are the trace of the work of a munsang. And yeah, here another old poo pile with sugar palm seeds inside. Those already ripened, not edible. You have to harvest them while they're soft and gelatinous. However, I've never harvested sugar palm fruits, and I don't plan to do it, especially not in a survival situation where you should stay away from things that can hurt you just for a little bit of nutrient. And still, this is the most valuable survival plant for me. Well, firstly, you can do a lot of technical things with it. The outer part of the stem, which is not the rind, but the outer part of the stem can be very hard. You can make a lot of things from it. Those bristles, they are better in other species. In other species they are being used to make brooms and stuff. Of course you can use the big leaves to cover, to make the roof of your shelter. You can also do a lot of other things. Why is it called sugar palm? You can tap the very young inflorescences for sugar, and you will get buckets and buckets full of sugary sap out of them, and you can make red sugar, red palm sugar from that sap. You can make alcohol from that sap, or you can just drink it. It's clear, sterile, more or less sterile water with a lot of sugar and minerals inside, so very valuable, especially if you're in a swampy area where you don't want to use the mucky water on the ground. Also, there is another use. This is the main foodstuff of the jungle nomads. They might follow the wild boar and the fruit season, but their staple is the sugar palm. Well, they say the sago tree, but in the hills where the jungle nomads, the Penan, or rather the Punan are the original jungle people, the Penan are the sedentarians where they live, there is not so much of the coastal sago tree, of the real sago tree. The main sago tree there is the sugar palm. And they will actually take cut down the tree, extract all basically the wood from inside the stem, and extract starch from it. Well, here you could tap those in, you could have tapped this inflorescence if the gardener said and chopped them down. So this plant is right now in an age where you can probably still extract sago, extract sugary sap, extract edible fruits, but you cannot do the one thing, because I haven't extracted sago from those things here yet. It's a very lengthy and not only time but also very energy consuming process. But from a big sugar palm or a big or even better from a big sago palm, you can get 1 ton of starch. 1 ton of starch, that's like 1 ton of wheat or rice. So one of those trees can feed a person for a year. But I haven't done any of those things. What I do is find the younger tree, chop it down. It kills the tree, yes, but it's a pioneer species, so not such a big damage. And then eat the heart of palm, which can be up to several kilograms. You can eat it raw, cooked, fried, boiled, steamed, roasted, pretty tasty, and one of the very few times where you can really reliably in all seasons, including outside of the fruit season, get a big bunch of edible vegetable in the jungle. It's so valuable for the jungle nomads that it's basically extinct in jungle nomad territory, and neighboring tribes are forcefully keeping the jungle nomads away from their territory, because otherwise they would eat all the sugar palms. The jungle nomads, they don't grow rice. The other tribes grow rice, but if the rice or the money runs out before the next harvest, they will eat the sugar palm. That's why they don't want the jungle nomads to eat it first. Let's see what else we have here. This little myrtaceae, it's a popular ornamental, and the fruits that look like little blueberries are actually quite tasty, but are very rarely found ripe fruits. You can eat the heart of a lot of palm trees, but be careful. You cannot eat the heart of every palm tree. A lot of them will have high contents of oxalate or high bitterness, or some have to be treated differently. Like when we chop down a beetle nut palm, I thought I can just start munching on the heart like with other species. No, the heart will give you an itchiness and a numbness. Remember, the fruit is a drug, and apparently even the heart, if not prepared properly, is a drug. After you cook it, it becomes harmless. But don't think that every palm can reliably give you the proper vegetable. Even the ones that can, you have to know how to treat every single one. Those also look a lot like fruit trees, but like what? Not sure. And as long as here is a label, let's see. Malay apple jumbo ball. Oh, this is a species of water apple. Yeah, here are the buds, which will soon the iconic Syzygium flowers. Come on, let me at least show a couple flowers and then develop into edible fruits. There are lots of different species of, well, there are about 1,000 species of Syzygium, and maybe more than 10 species are important fruit trees in Southeast Asia, and this is one of them. The South American rubber tree, Ficus elastica, it's a fig. However, the fruits are very inferior, but when the stem is wounded, it secretes a sap which is basically like rubber, and sometimes I like to chew it. It's like, it's not nutritious, but it will give you some, well, some consolation, some good feelings. However, I don't want to get wet right now. And no, by good feelings I don't mean it's a drug. It's basically like chewing gum which is neither aromatic nor sweet. What is this fruit? Could this be a water apple? Could be one, but definitely too far gone for me to eat. Probably it came from up there, but with all the munsangs and squirrels and birds foraging here, I don't think they will leave a lot of fruits for me. Well, at least I got water. At least we are not gonna die from dehydration. Here a few bigger Ficus elastica. Maybe if I find spot where one has been wounded. Oh no, the red leaf cutter ants. The red leaf weaver ants, those are different from the leaf cutter ants of South America. Those are the leaf weaver ants of Southeast Asia. Stay away from them, they are vicious. Oh, this little plant with this little fruit. I'm sure I've made videos about it, but I forgot what it is. As far as I remember, it's not really considered edible. Bamboos, very valuable survival plants, especially in Asia. They are so important in Asia that some scientists say in Asia there wasn't really a stone age, because they didn't have to travel very far to get the best stone. Instead of them, they took some nearby bamboo. And see this bamboo? It has little roots on the knots, which means that it is probably the one species which has the least cyanide, and basically the only species that humans can consume in significant quantities raw. We are not pandas, we cannot eat a lot of most bamboos, they have too much oxalate, but this species probably we can, and other species we can cook. And also, of course, we can make all sorts of shelters, tools, fire. With bamboo we can get water from bamboo. It's basically a top survival plant, but I'll still put them, especially in Borneo where I'm most familiar with survival, I'll put the sugar palm above it, simply because bamboo sprouts are firstly seasonal, and secondly bamboo is not that common in Borneo. When I told you that large parts of this park have been planted like an orchard, I was not kidding. Here we have a bunch of longan trees, another very popular fruit tree in Southeast Asia. There are even a couple longan fruits on them, very few longan fruits. I don't know if humans have picked the unripe fruits or animals, or if the pollination is bad, but somewhere up here, two lonely longan fruits. And no, I'm not gonna pick them because they are not ripe. What shall I do with unripe longan fruits? Most unripe fruits taste kind of boring like unripe fruits, with a couple exceptions. There are actually a couple fruits. Just remember cucumbers, which you better eat when unripe, but not longans. This little longan tree has more fruits. Not even sure if this is also the Thai longan. Yeah, it's covered with fruits, but I guess they will not get old. Whenever there is a label in a park, especially such a big tableau, read it. At least you can make fun of the people writing it. Oh, Shorea sumatrana. Shorea is by far the largest genus of the Dipterocarpus. Yes, it also produces the tallest, the biggest non-coniferous trees in the world. And yes, the fat of the Shorea tree is very valuable. So those things can get over 100 meters, the only non-coniferous tree, except maybe for eucalyptus, that can get over 100 meters. Not the species, I think, but close. More mangosteens and water apples. However, I'm more after this thing. One of the many mangosteen relatives called candies, and unfortunately 3 candies trees here had to fall. And this is the candies that's very common here in the area around Kuala Lumpur. I haven't seen it wild in the jungle, but it's being planted a lot in the parks. This is a small, immature, prematurely shed fruit. The good fruits are the size and color and shape, pretty much exact shape of mandarins. They're extremely sour with the mandarin flavor, but yeah, that's the tastes like an unripe fruit. A very sour unripe fruit, but not what I wanted to show you. Here we have a golden shower tree. Stop sniggering. Which has flowers, unripe and ripe looking fruits on it. Well, let's see. They are collecting all the leaves and fallen branches and fruits here every day, but maybe they overlooked 1 or 2 between those plants here. It's fine because it's a really good resource to forage. What about here? Nothing, it seems. Nothing here. Well, let's get the costus. Those are sweeter. Also here, Canna edulis. The name edulis has been given to this mostly because of the edible tubers, but you can eat the young stem, the young leaves, the flowers, the young fruits, and so on. A non-toxic plant where you can eat every part which is tender enough. Domestic pandanus, an ornamental variegated variety. Oh yeah, it's a bit fragrant, but not as fragrant as the normal kitchen garden varieties. All wild pandanus species, and there are hundreds of them, are spiny, and they produce big fruits, some of which are edible. However, the domestic pandanus is not spiny. Nobody really knows what species it evolved from. Showed up in gardens. It's, as far as I know, all of them are male. There are no females, but the leaves smell really nicely of hay, and so peoples in Southeast Asia use them to flavor a plethora of foods. A couple more monkey pot trees in front of me. Let's see if I can find a couple monkey pots here. Yeah, the fruits don't really seem to be in season. When you chew them, they're a little bit like carob, but a bit more astringent. Here is one, the very long one too. However, this was foraged by some animal that chewed out the sweet stuff. I'm not gonna chew where a stinky civet has chewed. By the way, civets, among other things, they're a very popular food source for many peoples in Borneo, and also they produce the most expensive coffee in the world. They eat the coffee berries and poop out the seeds, which we call coffee beans, and then those seeds are being processed and sold as coffee luwak, the fanciest coffee in the world. Can you guess which of the plants here is a wheat? Look at those things with the big leaves. This is a banana, one of the most notorious weeds here in Southeast Asia. This is where most banana species come from. This is where our cultivated bananas come from originally. And there are still a lot of wild species here. And this is one somebody overlooked inside this hedge. It's a bigger bunch of bananas here. And I don't know, they don't look planted. They look like the local wild bananas. However, there is a fence between me and those bananas, so I guess, well, there is a male flower underneath the leaf, so there might be fruits up there. Yeah, see, on those banana bunches there are fruits, and I'm pretty sure it's a wild banana which popped up and somebody just didn't remove it. Another iconic view on the skyscrapers in the vicinity. think I once made a foraging video around KLCC Park, but it's such a nice place. Why not make another one? Forgot what those three with those smallish, whitish, pale greenish fruits is. Tell me if you know. This could be Thespesia populnea, a very important tree that helped the Austronesians conquer half of the world 5,000 years ago, all the way from Madagascar through the all the way from Taiwan. They went through the Indian Ocean to Madagascar, to Australia, to Hawaii, and through the whole areas between them. And how could they do this with canoes made from single tree trunks? Well, because next to the canoes they had outriggers made from the very light wood of this tree, and everything was laced together with ropes made from the bark. Oh wait, but this is not this tree, this is something. Okay, forgot everything I say. Maybe I'll find the tree later. This is a different tree. Oh no, it's not a different tree. Yeah, here we have the flowers. No, don't forget everything I said. It is the correct tree. And here they are, the flowers on the ground. The flowers of Thespesia populnea are tasty and edible, and a very nice thing to forage on tropical beaches throughout the world. This was a little bit on the tough side. Usually they are more tender. What resource are those guys foraging for? Well, I guess the resource they are foraging for is either an electricity line or a water pipe. Yeah, most certainly a water pipe. I hope to get at least a couple of edible fruits. For now, out of luck. The thing is that outside of the fruit season there are still some fruits on the trees, but the squirrels and monkeys and moonzangs and birds, I don't think there are monkeys in this park, there are monkeys in other nearby parks, but they will get all the fruits from the trees. Only during the fruit season, when everything is flooded with fruits, there will be enough for such clumsy ground-dwelling animals as humans. Otherwise, the small amounts are all being eaten by the nimble tree foragers. Oh, here another tableau about one other very important foraging resource in the jungles, the jungle peanut, Sterculia. It's probably Sterculia foetida. Tab 1, Sterculia parviflora. Okay, there are many species of Sterculia, but they are easy to identify. They are very common in different tropical rainforests and also in tropical and subtropical cities. Now, mostly in tropical, but I've seen them all the way to southern Europe in cities as ornamentals, and they fruit in southern Europe, produce edible seeds, and their seeds can be eaten. Easy to identify, easy to collect from the ground, often fruiting in big amounts and outside the fruit season. Very important survival resource. This here should be a Sterculia. However, yeah, they are flowering right now, no fruits. So good that we had the picture. Again, a couple skyscrapers. The fishtail palm, another palm where you can tap the inflorescences for sugary sap. For most of the other uses, the contents of oxalate in this plant are just too high. So many more mangosteen trees here. This is the true purple mangosteen, folks. An elephant apple tree. See this iconic red bark? It's typical for many elephant apple species, but not for all. This one is the big... Oh! Don't scare me, it's the huge Indian elephant apple. Oh yeah, I can see a small unripe fruit up there. Right now it's the size of an apple, but can get the size of a grapefruit or even bigger. This is not one of the species which is so tasty raw, but you can make them into curries and stuff. Here is another species of Tilenia or elephant apple without this iconic red bark. Could be Tilenia philippinica. Flowers and fruits of many Dillenia species are edible. I don't know if I should call it a survival plant. You usually don't get, well, actually on the very common feral Dillenia subfruticosa, people use the flowers as a survival food in hungry times. So yeah, call them survival plants. There is a small elephant apple down there. I wonder from what species. Wow. Is it even ripe? Wow. Super sour and sorrel-like, but it's a nice sourness. So if you cook with it and dilute it, it will give you a lot of fibrous mass and also a lot of sour taste. Well, I would like to tell you that this is the real deal, but this is just a tiny, prematurely shed out of season fruit. And still some big animal has attacked it. The normal fruits are about twice the diameter, so about 8 times the size of this one. Yeah, but that's what an elephant apple, Dillenia indica, looks like. Just scale it up. See those young trees, the small crowns on the tall stems? This is like Arströmia indica. Beautiful ornamental, which nowadays can even grow in some parts of Germany. Imagine the same tree that grows in Germany also grows here in the most equatorial climate in the world. Here we have the pink shower tree, a relative of the golden shower tree. I guess that's the LGBTQ version. Stop sniggering. Here are the fruits. However, those look more like the fruits of the... No, this is not the pink shower tree. This is the giant, what was it called? The horse cassia. However, see, they are so popular that they have all been opened by some animal. Same thing goes for this fruit. Same thing goes for this fruit. Well, they are not as tasty as the golden shower. Stop sniggering. Those here have been opened quite recently, the last couple days. See? They've been opened and all the insect extracted. And look at that. It doesn't seem the animal was after the seeds, because there are a couple seeds here. A couple even very clean seeds. So this animal sucked the black sweet pulp of the seeds. Oh, look, here we have. Why are they in piles? Did it puke it out or poop it out? Basically, they... Oh, and this is another species of cassia. Look, much smaller seeds. So some animal here is foraging on different species of cassia. I'm pretty sure it's after the sweet pulp around the seeds, not after the seeds themselves. Where did it get the smaller golden cassia fruits from? Down there are a couple more elephant apple trees. Usually at least one of them fruits when I'm here, but now I don't see the huge fruits. Those palms could be cabbage palm. Fruits of the cabbage palm are edible, but why are they called cabbage palm? Because they are spineless and quite soft, and a lot of them, the heart of palm is actually very easy to obtain and to eat like a cabbage. And here a species of pandanus. The buds, not the buds, but the buds of a lot of wild pandanus species are edible, and some even the fruits are edible. And pandanus has tons of uses. However, I don't see anything I can use right now on this group. Here you can see a very bad thing that's being done in Malaysian parks. They rake away the leaves every day. Well, take the rainy, hot equatorial climate and the poor soils, and you are depleting the soils every week by removing leaves, fruits, fallen branches, anything. And so, of course, your parks, nothing will grow properly there. Yeah, quite probable this is some saba, some cabbage palm. We haven't successfully foraged anything so far, but I've come prepared. I have a whole bunch of the super sweet musky thumb or black gold mangoes with me. They're usually sweeter than other mango varieties, and right now, when pretty much all mango varieties are super sweet and tasty, those are just superior. See those ground covering plants? The leaves look like pepper. And whenever something looks like pepper in Southeast Asia, there is a good chance it is actually pepper. Not Pepper nigrum, but another of the numerous species, yes? It is spicy, with a flavor similar to black pepper. I don't know what species this is, but since several species like the wild beetle pepper are being used to stop bleeding and to treat wounds, when I'm in a jungle I would totally use this as a spice and also as a medicine. So good to recognize pepper, because there are many species here and all of them can be potentially tasty and useful. Not just the seeds, but also the flowers, the green inflorescences, and mostly the leaves. The mangoes were super sweet, really exquisite. However, well, whenever people talk about survival and foraging, they usually forage for food. However, don't forget, folks, yes, you will die without food, but it will take you weeks. However, in some climates and type of exposure to sun and heat, you can die within an hour without water. I have a bottle of water with me, but here is nice cooled drinking water, and also this kind of a little bit unnecessary fountain of nice cool drinking water. I'm just like the other ones. I don't really do a lot of videos on how to survive by drinking wild water, but remember, while 99% of all the sustenance videos in the wild are about food, that's just 10% of the story. Water is the other 90%. Safe fish, drinkable water in sufficient amounts. Look at that. No, they haven't disposed of a corpse. Those are the bags full with leaves and other litter. That's where all the nutrients from those parks go. There was just one exception. There is just one exception to this rule here in Malaysia, the Tenom Agricultural Park in Sabah. And actually, when I was there the third time, I saw them starting to do this, collecting everything in big plastic bags. And I had a meeting with the director of the park later. And while I was thinking how to tell him without insulting him that maybe the leaves are important for nutrients and so on, an old white man stormed into the room and said, "I saw that you are collecting the dead leaves from under the trees. You have to stop doing this. This is taking away all the nutrients from under the trees. The park will die if you do it." The director of the park was very friendly and very forthcoming, and I thought, this old white man being so rude, I mean, he's right, but being so rude, and he's lucky that people are so friendly to them. What I didn't know that this was the first director of the park and the guy who had planned and designed and built the park and being his director for decades, and he was totally right. Unfortunately, now he is dead, but at least the litter still stays under the trees in Tenom Park. Might not look as beautiful as this lawn here, but it preserves the nutrients in the most natural way possible. See the tree with the red young leaves in the distance? Pretty sure this is a matua, a popular fruit tree here in Southeast Asia. It's native at least to Borneo and Papua and maybe to a couple other areas. Quite common in the jungles, and also quite common in gardens, and also quite common as a roadside tree in cities. Let's see if we can see some fruits. It doesn't seem to be in season, but sometimes you can find clusters of out of season fruits. Nope, there is not just one mato, there is a whole grove of them. I guess you have to believe me. A quite decomposed sky fruit or mahogany fruit. I hope they'd be able to show you a more beautiful one, but for now, no. Seems we're really out of the fruit season. Good that I bought over 10 kilograms of mangoes today. You will not starve me for fruits. Not while I'm here. Here is a nice, more or less freshly fallen sky fruit, probably fallen yesterday. They're falling apart. There is nothing edible in them, but they are a valuable cancer medicine. Also, they are being used a little bit as an ornamental, and of course also the mahogany timber is very valuable. And it's planted a lot in Asia and Africa because, unlike in its native America, a lot of its pests and parasites are absent here. Here another mahogany fruit. Here is another bunch of those Candice Garcinia trees. And again, just a small fruit. Well, this one is at least halfway developed. Let's try it. Yeah, sour, with the flavor reminiscent of mandarins and apricots. Really tasty, just too concentrated. If you extract the juice and add it to some drinks and juices, or if you cook with it, it's much better than eating that out of hand. A lot more mangosteens. This looks like a grove of rambutan trees. Another very popular fruit tree in Southeast Asia, but not in season. Haven't seen a mango tree around here, but I guess that even the mangoes are brought from a different part of Malaysia. There should be a big bunch of acai berries or some other edible, a couple different edible palm fruits around here. No, it wasn't this stuff here. Ontacosperma, for constructing fish traps, steady flutters and raftings, walking sticks and spears, blowpipe darts. The flowers were used for flavoring rice. Yeah, this is a common palm near beaches, but unfortunately, except for flavoring rice, there doesn't seem to be anything edible about it. Aha! A whole bunch of toddy palms and a squirrel up there harvesting, foraging, stealing. See the squirrel wiggling its tail? Well, tupais are not real squirrels. As far as I remember, they are much more closely related to the lemurs of Madagascar. Remember the movie with the dancing lion? And yeah, they are the biggest consumer of fruits and nuts around here. Here is some small premature fruit of the toddy palm. As you can see, some animal, probably the squirrel, has penetrated all 3 seeds, probably eaten them out. Well, pity, nothing for me. Here an even smaller fruit. Don't even know if I could use this for anything. Just astringent. Yeah, too young. I need older fruits. I guess the squirrels just have better access. This fruit, the seeds could be edible for me in this stage, but yeah, the squirrels have been at them. The big mature fruits can be twice the size of this, so not quite the size of coconuts, but not that much smaller. But yeah, even though the squirrels might have dropped a couple of not completely eaten fruits, I guess the gardener with his broom, there he is in the background, has already collected them. A grove of beautiful ficus trees here. those are still very young, just a couple decades old, like the park. Guess the park is not older than 30 years, but imagine to what sizes they grow within a couple hundred years. So beautiful. Not sure what those big palms are. I'm sure we can forage something out of them when we are in a pickle. And what better spot to end the video than this bridge? Probably my favorite place in all of Kuala Lumpur. Guess it was built right here for the perfect viewing of Petronas Twin Towers. I guess this skyscraper here, the smaller one, was built at a time where not everybody had a smartphone because it has a clock. Nowadays, I guess nobody would add something like that. So folks, this was foraging around the highest double towers in the world, Petronas Twin Towers at KLCC Park in Kuala Lumpur. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and incredibly fruit-rich KLCC Park in the whole city of Kuala Lumpur, despite not being in the fruit season right now. And of course, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.